Crypto tax rules for 2025 have changed. The IRS has implemented new mandatory reporting from exchanges. What I'm going to do today is go over the facts you need to know so you can avoid mistakes. We'll cover what counts as a taxable crypto event, what doesn't, why cost basis is everything, and how the Form 1099-DA changes what the IRS can see starting in 2025. I'm a former IRS agent, but I'm not about to give you tax advice. Every situation is different. You should always talk with your own tax advisor before making decisions. A lot of people call cryptocurrency a currency, but when it comes to taxes, the IRS doesn't see it that way. For federal tax purposes, the IRS treats cryptocurrency similar to stocks or real estate. I'm sure you already know that this means your gains and losses can affect your tax bill. Now, before we talk about what actually triggers a federal tax bill, I want to mention one thing. In most cases, you cannot deduct crypto that was lost or stolen. When it comes to capital assets like crypto, you can only have casualty losses and theft losses. A casualty loss means your crypto was damaged, destroyed, or lost because of a sudden, unexpected event. For example, accidentally sending your crypto to the wrong wallet could fall into this category, but it depends on the facts. The IRS looks closely at how and why it happened. A theft loss is when your crypto is taken from you. Think hacking, fraud, or an exchange getting compromised. But even if you have a casualty or a theft loss, you generally can't deduct those losses to offset your gains on your federal return. So understanding what actually triggers gains and losses in crypto is key, and that's what we're getting into next. Federal taxes generally apply in two ways: ordinary income tax when you earn or receive crypto, and capital gains tax when you sell, trade, or spend it for a profit. There's an exception though. This does not apply if the crypto is held inside a tax-deferred or tax-free account, such as an individual retirement account or IRA. First, let's look at when a crypto transaction is taxed as a capital gain. Your cryptocurrency transaction is taxed as a capital gain when you do any of these three things. First, if you sell your crypto for cash. Second, if you spend crypto on goods or services. For example, if you use Bitcoin to buy a coffee, the IRS basically treats that the same as if you sold your Bitcoin for cash and then use the cash to pay for the coffee. Third, if you convert one cryptocurrency into another. Technically, the IRS says you sold your original crypto at its fair market value and then used it to buy the new crypto. If the crypto you gave up was worth more than what you originally paid for it, you would have a taxable gain. This includes converting crypto into a stablecoin. Even trading one stablecoin for another can be taxable if there are small differences in value or fees involved. When you receive the new crypto, its cost basis is the fair market value on the day of the exchange. That number matters later when you sell again. I know keeping track of everything can get messy. Be sure to use a spreadsheet or specialized software to track your transactions. Check out the manual spreadsheet templates I've linked in the description. If you want a more automated approach, I recommend CoinTracker. It integrates directly with software like TurboTax and H&R Block. And just to let you know, I'm a CoinTracker affiliate. Using my link helps to support the channel. When you calculate your crypto gain or loss, everything starts with your cost basis. In most cases, your cost basis is simply what you paid for the crypto. Then you add in any fees or commissions you paid to buy it. This is your adjusted cost basis. Now that number can be different in other situations. If you received crypto from mining or staking, your cost basis is the fair market value of the crypto on the day you received it. If the crypto was gifted to you, your cost basis will either be the original owner's cost basis or the fair market value when you receive the gift. After you determine your cost basis, you move on to the sale amount. You start with what you sold the crypto for and then subtract any fees or commissions you paid to close the transaction. That gives you your adjusted sale amount. Finally, you subtract your adjusted cost basis from your adjusted sale amount. If the result is positive, you have a capital gain. If the result is negative, you have a capital loss. When you buy and sell cryptocurrency, your gains and losses fall into one of two buckets: short-term or long-term. If you own the cryptocurrency for 1 year or less before selling or spending it, any profit is usually a short-term capital gain. If you held the cryptocurrency for more than 1 year, any profit is usually a long-term capital gain. The reason that difference matters is because long-term gains are taxed at lower rates than short-term gains. Long-term capital gains are taxed at 0%, 15%, or 20%, depending on your income. And those rates are the same for both 2025 and 2026. If you're a higher income taxpayer, please keep in mind that you may also owe the 3.8% net investment income tax on your gains. For 2025, you may pay no federal capital gains tax on your crypto if your taxable income is $48,350 or less if you file as single or married filing separately, or $96,700 or less if you file as married filing jointly. Take a look at your screen for the 2026 income thresholds for the 0% rate. Now, The IRS looks at your total taxable income, including your capital gains, to determine if you are within the 0% limit. This can push the rest of your capital gains into the 15% bracket. For example, we'll say you're single and your wages were $55,000 and your crypto gain was $15,000 in 2025. First, to find your capital gains tax rate, you look to see where your taxable income falls. Your taxable income is $54,250, which falls within the 15% rate. Then you look at your ordinary income base to determine if any gain will be taxed at a lower rate. Your base is $39,250, which falls within the 0% rate. So you have $9,100 of space left in the 0% bracket. $9,100 of your gain is taxed at 0% and $5,900 of your gain is taxed at 15%. If you held your crypto for more than 1 year and you want to do your own calculations, use the tables on your screen to find your long-term capital gains tax rates for 2025 and 2026. Short-term capital gains are taxed at your ordinary income tax rate, which is usually higher than long-term rates. If you have short-term gains or ordinary income from crypto activities, you'll want to use the tables on your screen to find your 2025 and 2026 tax rates. Now, if you have a capital loss, you can use it to offset your capital gains, even your gains from non-crypto investments like stocks. That can directly reduce your overall tax bill. If your losses are more than your gains, or if you had no gains at all, the IRS still lets you use up to $3,000 of losses each year to offset other income. And if you don't use all your losses in 1 year, the unused amount carries forward to subsequent years until the full loss is used up. Your earned income from cryptocurrency activities is different from capital gains. Crypto income is treated as ordinary income and is taxed at your marginal tax rate, just like wages. Here are some common crypto activities that are taxed at your ordinary income tax rates. First, getting paid in crypto. If an employer pays you in cryptocurrency, the IRS treats it the same as getting paid in cash. Next, getting crypto in exchange for goods or services. If someone pays you crypto for work you did or something you sold, the income amount is the fair market value of the crypto on the day you receive it. Another one is mining crypto. When you mine crypto, you generally owe taxes based on the fair market value of the coins when you receive them. And if you're mining as a business, that income is usually treated as self-employment income, which can also mean self-employment tax. Staking rewards work in a similar way. Earning crypto through staking is kind of like earning interest on a savings account. Staking income is taxed based on the fair market value when you earn it and may also be subject to self-employment tax. The income is generally taxable when you have the ability to unstake and take control of the rewards, even if you decide to keep them staked. If your rewards are locked and you can't access them yet, you don't owe taxes until that lockup period ends. You might also receive crypto from hard forks and airdrops. A hard fork by itself doesn't always create a taxable event, but if it's followed by an airdrop and you receive new crypto, that value is typically taxable. Giveaways and promotional crypto you receive are also taxable income. Examples include earning rewards for holding certain cryptocurrencies or getting crypto for referring someone to an exchange. If you earn income from crypto, you might receive a Form 1099 MISC or a 1099 NEC. One last thing to keep in mind, if you earn a lot from crypto activity, it can push you into a higher tax bracket, which means some of your income can be taxed at a higher rate. So if you're earning crypto income during the year, make sure you're sending in estimated tax payments to the IRS if needed. Let's tie all of this together and make it feel real with an example. We're going to look at what happens when you receive crypto as payment. It goes up in value and then you spend it. This example will involve both ordinary income tax and capital gains tax. Here's the setup. On March 1st, you complete a freelance design project and receive $1,200 worth of Bitcoin as payment. Your cost basis for this Bitcoin is $1,200. When you file your tax return the following year, you report that $1,200 as ordinary income. And since you're a freelancer, you will also have to pay self-employment tax. 8 months later, on November 10th, the value of that same Bitcoin has increased to $1,800, and you decide to use the entire amount to buy a laptop for your business. The IRS treats spending crypto just like selling it. And because you held the Bitcoin for less than a year, this creates a short-term capital gain. To avoid being taxed twice on the same money, you use your original cost basis of $1,200 and pay capital gains tax on only the $600 increase in value. One laptop purchase like this is easy to track, but imagine you take $3,000 worth of Bitcoin, load it onto a debit card, and spend it over the next 6 months on things like coffee and lunch. Every single one of those transactions, even a $5 latte, is a separate taxable event. Trying to manually calculate the cost basis and gain or loss of 200 different cups of coffee based on the fluctuating price of Bitcoin is nearly impossible. And if you're treating crypto like cash without tracking these transactions along the way, it can be hard to untangle everything at year end. That's where using a dedicated crypto tracking tool becomes essential. Keeping track of your crypto activity as you go throughout the year will save you a lot of stress later. I want to point out several crypto activities that are not taxable. Buying crypto with cash and simply holding it. Transferring crypto to yourself. Receiving crypto as a gift. In most cases, you won't owe tax until you later sell the crypto or use it in another taxable transaction. Giving crypto as a gift. For both 2025 and 2026, you can gift up to $19,000 to each recipient each year without paying gift tax. If you give more than that, you'll need to file a gift tax return, but that still doesn't necessarily mean you'll owe tax. Donating crypto to a qualified charity. If you donate cryptocurrency directly to a qualified 501c3 nonprofit, you may be able to claim a deduction. If you itemize deductions, you can generally deduct the fair market value of the crypto at the time you donate it, and you typically don't have to pay capital gains tax on the donated crypto. These donations are treated as non-cash charitable contributions. When you have a taxable crypto event, you'll need to keep track of details like cost basis, what you paid for the crypto, when you bought it, and when you sold or spent it. These transactions are typically reported using a combination of Form 8949, Schedule D, and Form 1040. Schedule D shows the totals, and Form 8949 shows the details. If your crypto exchange issued you a Form 1099-DA, and if it shows your cost basis and other details, and no corrections or adjustments are needed, you may not need to file Form 8949. In that case, the totals can usually flow straight to Schedule D. Beginning with the 2025 tax year, keep an eye out for the new IRS Form 1099-DA. It requires brokers to report your gross proceeds from crypto sales. It will be issued for any crypto transaction that results in a gain or loss, no matter how many transactions you had, and no matter how small the dollar amount. Starting with 2026 transactions, brokers will also have to report your cost basis. Since brokers don't have to report your cost basis for 2025, you might have to calculate it yourself. If you look at your 1099-DA and see that box 1G for cost basis is blank or zero, you will have to find that original buy price and enter it into your tax software. Starting in 2026, the final version of 1099-DA will include the transaction date, the type of transaction such as buy, sell, or exchange, the transaction amount, your cost basis, the gross proceeds, and the fair market value of the digital assets for each transaction. And this doesn't just apply to exchanges. If digital assets are used in a real estate transaction, entities like title companies, mortgage lenders, and real estate brokers will also have to report the fair market value of any digital assets used in the transaction. Although brokers must now report your transactions via Form 1099-DA, you are still responsible for ensuring your tax return reflects all your activity, especially if you're moving assets across multiple wallets or platforms. Even though moving crypto between wallets you own isn't taxable, it can still break the cost basis trail. This can make it harder to calculate gains and losses later if you're not keeping complete records. This is where tools like CoinTracker come in. As a CoinTracker affiliate, let me explain why people use it. CoinTracker works as a single dashboard that connects to over 500 exchanges and supports more than 10,000 different crypto assets. Instead of spending hours downloading CSV files and trying to manually match cost bases across different wallets, CoinTracker pulls everything together and does that work automatically. A standout feature in premium plans is the tax loss harvesting tool, which flags underperforming assets you can sell to offset your gains, potentially saving you thousands on your tax bill. Like I mentioned earlier, CoinTracker also has software integration. It generates a file that integrates directly with TurboTax, H&R Block, and Pro-Level tools. If you work with a tax professional, it integrates with certain software programs so they can pull your data directly into their professional tax software. Basically, CoinTracker might be able to save you hours of spreadsheet work. I've included a link in the description box so you can get more information. Take care.